Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our MAJEURE in Spain Zoom seminar this afternoon. We brought in Natasha from European Business Forum from Lanzarote. She's English-speaking. Well, she's actually English, but a Spanish accountant based in the Canaries, acting for clients all over Spain. Helping them out on accountancy advice, and you also have a payroll department there as well, I understand. Yeah. So we're talking to her, and I'm also joined on the call with my colleagues Isabel. Say hello, Isabel.
Hello.
There's Isabel. Rosario. Yeah.
Can you hear?
I can hear you now.
Yes.
Yeah, there's Rosario.
We're back.
Patricia, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there we go. All right. Okay. So we're back. Okay, the joys of modern technology. Okay, so latest news in that we're expecting the lockdown to be extended until the 26th of April. We won't know for sure about that from the next couple of days, but that's the initial news that is coming in. Okay. So Natasha, tell us what's been keeping you busy since lockdown.
Right, I think well, firstly, hi everybody. Definitely reading the and keeping everybody up to date. I mean, the legislation is changing all the time, and the last World Decree that we had was obviously the 88 pages that we had to read. And then, of course, what I'm doing with that is I'm trying to summarise it all, put it into English, and we're informing all of our clients, and then we're sharing all of that knowledge use with everybody on our social media. Basically keep everybody up to date. So that's been really, really tasking. We're trying our best to do 2 hours of each time it's been published, but of course on Thursday, I think it was when it was published, 88 pages possible. So yeah, that's keeping us very busy, and then really just attending to everybody's questions and restructuring companies, and yeah, it's just been non-stop.
We've seen a lot of new legislation come in, rushed in quite quickly to help employers, employees, and businesses. And what kind of services are your clients requesting from you at the moment?
Right. Okay. All of our clients request help. Basically, is the first call. Oh, help. What do we do? So they're requesting assistance with the restructuring of their business during the lockdown period, and also assistance with estimating finances that they need perhaps for the next 12 months is what we're generally advising people to do. And also advising them to use this time period to seriously think about how they're going to be able to perhaps remarket their business. Perhaps here in Spain, we're not sure when tourists are going to be coming back. So, if you've got a business that's marketed towards the British citizen for, say, I don't know, tourist areas where they've got restaurants, etc., perhaps look at other ways of putting a twist on their business. Perhaps other businesses that have got shops look at online options. Really trying to encourage them to use this time to look at that. So yeah, we've been restructuring businesses, helping them look at what they should be looking at over the next 12 months. And there are some questions that have been coming to us which are out of our jurisdiction, but we're also trying to keep people up to date on, for example, this morning there was a new note, if you like, that had been declared by the Guardia Civil, just to clarify what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. We'll be translating that and putting it on our social media within the next 24 hours as well. So there's little things that are not related to tax and accounts, but we are making an effort to slightly get involved just so that people know what they can and cannot do. Okay,
yeah, I mean, I think it's right. We've got a great opportunity now to kind of look at the business and refocus and consider alternatives to the way we're doing business, because this is our second Zoom seminar. This is something we haven't done before, but yeah, we've got to look at new ways of technology and engaging with our clients. So that's quite important. I know we've had lots of laws coming through, but for you, what were the key points, and can you provide us with a summary of some of the government measures available to help businesses that kind of really, you know, are of interest to you and your clients?
I think primarily what we've had to do, we've done this in stages, if you like. So the first stage, which was our priority and also the priority for the business, you had those businesses that were closed due to the force majeure, which took place on the 14th of, that was the Saturday, which was the 14th of March. Of course, we had the presentation from Pedro Sanchez, and we were expecting this to be published on the Sunday, which meant it would have come into effect on the Monday. However, they rushed it through, which meant we then had the obligation to inform businesses that they were not able to reopen the next day. And that was about 8 o'clock in the evening, if I'm not mistaken. So there was a massive rush there and panic, and people really not knowing, well, what happens now? So the primary, the most important aspect there was dealing with the staff issues, okay? So these were businesses that were obliged to close, yet they'd still got staff that weren't able to work, but they were obliged to pay their social security, and that's what they were thinking, you know, and their wages. So we then started with the ERTEs, which is the temporary staffing regulation, and that's really what we've been concentrating on for the last 2 weeks, making sure that they're rushed through. So that would apply either a temporary reduction of working hours if you're carrying out an activity that is still permitted to continue to operate, or it would be a temporary suspension of employment contracts during the period of the state of alarm. So we've been concentrating on that, and that's been a major factor because that allows the employer to claim exemption of social security for the staff, which is a massive cost to the business, and it also exonerates them from paying their staff the salary. Okay, so the staff then would be entitled to their unemployment benefit, and of course that's the major help and assistance that we've been doing. Now we've moved on to the second block, which is now helping the self-employed person deal with their situation, which is what we're going to be going into this coming week. We started these last few days, and we'll be carrying on the next coming week, dealing with their situations.
And those people, so yeah, mainly, for example, on the ERTE, so that's a kind of temporary file that employers and companies can lodge with the authorities, and that allows them to suspend working hours or to suspend employment contracts altogether. But the bad news about that is if someone's earning, for example, more than 1,200 euros, I don't know, their take-home pay is 2,000, 2,500. On the ERTE, I understand that the maximum they can receive is 1,200 euros. Is that right?
Is that you're talking about staff, or you're talking about self-employed?
I'm talking about the staff. Yeah.
No. I know it's 70% of their gross salary.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on that. I'd have to have a look into that for you with regards to what staff's entitlement is. If there's a maximum on that, there probably will be a maximum, knowing the government that we have in place. But I haven't got those figures. Okay, no,
it's just something I read this week, and I thought, gosh, for example, in the UK, the maximum is £2,500, whereas here, and I'm pretty certain we'll double check and come back to everyone on the call. But yeah, I understand the maximum is about the 1,200 euro mark. So it's a lot less. Yeah.
I'll tell you what it is. I've got it now. The thing is, it's been so much information and so much knowledge that we've had to acquire over the last 2 weeks that you get to a stage where you struggle then to try and find it and bring it out. But I know exactly what it is. Yeah. When there's they get 70% of their salary. However, there's a maximum. That also depends on the number of children that they've got. Okay, so if it's somebody that's employed and they've been included on an ERTE, the maximum they will get if they've got no children is 1,089.09. Okay, if they have one child, then that will be increased to 1,254.86.
Right.
Got 2 or more children, it will be increased to 1,411.83.
Okay.
Also, some minimum amounts that I'd like to just mention, because of course there are going to be some people that are thinking, well, I'm on a 5-10 hour week contract, 70% of my gross salary, before deductions, is hardly anything. In those instances, we also do have a minimum. Okay, so somebody that doesn't have children, the minimum will be 501.98, and if somebody's got one child or more, it'll be 671.40.
Right. Okay. Okay. So basically, we've got some minimums in place for staff, and then one of the positive measures I also saw was that if people haven't been here, spent enough time contributing to the Spanish social security system, the government have waived that measure, and you'll still be entitled to those minimums we talked about.
Yeah, because previously you had an obligation to have paid into the system for 360 days over the last 6 years, and they've wiped, in order for you to actually qualify for obtaining unemployment benefit. And what they've done is they've wiped that out, so there's no minimum social security contribution in the state that we're in at the moment. So that was a big help.
So that's the ERTEs, and that's kind of primarily directed at employers, and then obviously we talked about the benefits that employees will get. But if you're self-employed, Natasha, what is there at the moment for the self-employed people?
Okay, if those people that are included were forced to stop trading on the 15th because and even afterwards, because there was another order that was brought out. There was a list of activities that were given on the 14th, and then after that there were the hotels that were closed. Okay, so that was brought out in a separate order as opposed to the royal decree. Anybody that's related to an activity that's been forced to close, not only does staff have a benefit, but also do the self-employed people. So they will, in effect, be entitled to unemployment benefit. Okay, they do, however, still the self-employed person does have an obligation to continue to pay their social security though at the moment. And what they've done there to help with that, they've introduced some special payment schemes whereby you can either apply to suspend your social security payments during the next 6 months. Remember, I'm saying suspend, so you're not eliminating the debt, or you can fraction the social security. Now, your unemployment benefit is going to be about €700 as a self-employed person, and your social security is nigh on €280. If you're a part of a limited company, then I think it goes up to €388 or something like that. So once you've taken that off your €700, you're not really leaving yourself with too much. My advice generally, though, is to try and pay what you can. The 6 months. The 6 months suspension is okay, but you're going to have to pay that as we speak, unless they come up with any other solutions. Which again, there's quite a lot of likelihood that will happen. But as we speak, that's how it stands.
So again, one of our clients contacted me recently. I've kind of sent him your way, but he said, look, he produces videos, and he's just had loads of contracts cancelled. And he said to me, look, contracts cancelled, got to stay indoors. I haven't got the benefit of a dog, so he can't get out and take his dog for a walk because he hasn't got one. But so he's stuck indoors, and basically this month, no earnings, and he still had to pay his social security of €308.
Yeah, but what he could do, he can also apply for it by proving that he has a loss of income that exceeds 75% of his income that he had over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's a slightly different process, but at the moment, from the information that I've been given, is they are accepting all, and then they will look into this, which is, they will probably look into this automatically afterwards. This is what it says in the legislation. But I think if you realise just how many of these ERTEs have been applied, how many people are applying for this unemployment, well, it's actually called a prestación extraordinaria. So it's, as a self-employed person, you wouldn't necessarily always be entitled to the unemployment benefit. So prestación extraordinaria, which is an extraordinary payment, if you like. So they would be, if he could prove that his income has dropped by 75%, compared to the last 6 months, and he'll also be able to apply for that.
So, but basically, I was shocked to see yesterday in the Spanish news, more than 834,000 people have now registered as unemployed or have come off social security. I mean, that's the highest figure they've ever had in the history of maintaining those records. And that's just literally happened in the space of 2 weeks. So it's going to be quite difficult, I think, for Spain to come back from this. We're in for a recession once we come out, aren't we? Because it's going to take a while for all those jobs to be recovered.
It's going to take, yeah. I mean, I think in these situations we have to be realistic, because if we want to help our clients, we need to be realistic. I was speaking to somebody yesterday, and they are already trying to put a financial structure into place that allows them to be covered for the next 12 months. Okay, so we were looking through their profit and loss and putting an estimate through. They're going to be applying for an ICO loan, which is going to allow them to pay interest only over the first 12 months. And then after that, they will be liable for paying the full amount. So in this instance, I think we were looking at, this is 40,000 euros. So we worked it out, and it meant that in 12 months' time, when they started paying that back, it would probably come to about 650 euros. This is the kind of business that I know in 12 months' time, that 650 euro paying back isn't going to be a problem for them. But trying to get to that point is, they want to continue with the business as it is. They need a minimum amount of staff when they reopen. So that figure was a reasonable figure for them. And yeah, I would be looking at a 12-month plan, if possible, because we need to take into consideration that once the state of emergency is lifted, we're still going to have, I would imagine, the restriction on movement of people and the borders. And, let's face it, if the UK don't get their coronavirus under control, and Spain got ours under control sooner, then are we going to be allowing people coming into Spain when they're coming from a country that hasn't yet controlled the virus? Probably not. So, it's not a case of, the state of alarm is going to be lifted and hey-ho, we're all back to normal. We're going to have this transition period, and every business needs to be prepared for that transition period. Yeah,
so exactly. So we, in the office, we've been quite busy as well with ERTEs. We've been acting for numerous clients who have applied for ERTEs. We've applied for them, submitted all the documentation to suspend and reduce working hours of numerous clients. However, at the moment, we haven't heard back from the labour authorities. So what we're just presuming at the moment is that will be sufficient and be considered an administrative silence is considered as an acceptance, because, as you said earlier, the government have received hundreds of thousands of these ERTEs. So we talked about employees, we talked about employers, and yeah, I mean, there is some help there. Do you think the government have gone far enough? Do you think the town halls have gone far enough? Do you think there could be more measures out there yet for the government to introduce?
Well, I think it clearly indicates also in the national royal decree that obviously different regions, so the Melilla, and then you've got the Canary, the autonomous communities. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we do have the situation whereby each autonomous community will be able to introduce their measures, and I think also from the social impact. There are more things that need to be done there. There are some families that it's just not going to be enough for them to continue. We're going to have people that are living in rented accommodation. That came up in the last royal decree about the rented accommodation and what plans are in place there. So that's another. We have advised clients to negotiate with landlords on commercial property, and then, although it's probably an area you'd get more involved in on the legal side, with regards to negotiating with their landlords on the living accommodation. So there is some help there from the government with that. There's some social benefits there. Also with electricity and water. That's all mentioned in the royal decree. We actually published a summary of different measures that were introduced in the royal decree number 11 that was published a couple of days ago. I put that in there. We'll probably be putting together another questions and answers, because that seems to work quite well for people. You know, reading a summary of a royal decree isn't always easy to understand.
Yeah.
But questions and answers work quite well.
Yeah.
So we'll probably introduce something there. But yeah, there's, you know, this is a case of people. One question that I was asked not so long ago was, you know, why do things keep changing? Well, things have to change because we're in an extraordinary situation where the government are creating measures. Depending on what those measures are, the society that we live in react, and then they see the reaction of the society and then have to put other measures in place. For example, the first reaction that they saw were hundreds and thousands of ERTEs being presented, and they probably realised, well, how are we going to deal with this? We've got another section of the market that we're just about to close. So what they've done with the other section of the market, if you notice, I think it was Royal Decree 9, where they've closed certain activities for employees, but you are still able to operate as the self-employed person. So therefore, you're not a force majeure. You know, so therefore, you're not able to suspend your employees' contracts where that's, you know, there are other measures there. So it's just patience is the virtue, I think, where we are at the moment.
But yeah, you know, we'll definitely come out this stronger, and just so you're aware, and so everyone on the call is aware what the questions that have been asked and the conversations that we're having at the moment, that will be published on our web. Because I agree with you, Natasha. Just translating the royal decree for people to read through is not good. People need kind of real questions, real answers to real questions. Okay. So one of the other questions we'd had through to ask you is, you know, in normal circumstances, businesses now would be preparing all their tax documents to send to you. So what can people do about those tax returns now?
Right. Okay. Well, several associations for tax, which I'm involved in as well, for tax and collaborating with the tax authorities. There were 3 requests that were put in place to defer the tax returns. One of the reasons was obviously for the taxpayer themselves, but also for the sheer volume of work that has been produced from the effect of the royal decree that's come in, or several royal decrees that have come in, and also how people were going to be able to submit their documents to the accountants. Now, to be honest, for E.B.F Consulting, it's not a problem because we've invested a lot of time and money over the last 4 years into becoming a digital office. So we're able to deal with anybody throughout Spain because of the applications that we've got in place. So for us, it's not a problem. There are a minor number of clients that perhaps insist on bringing it in paper, but this gives us an advantage now to try and convince them that they really need to go digital. Also, taking into consideration that the tax authorities themselves are digital. If you're subject to a request and they want you to present some documentation, they don't want paperwork. It has to be digitalized. It has to be electronic. So, you know, every member needs to try and make that effort now to become more digital. And again, that is for any kind of business. You know, you said before, you know, be positive. Absolutely. You know, we're all in this together, and now we need to work together to find out how we can get on with this afterwards. So use this time to think how you can turn around your business when you reopen. And becoming digital is one of the primary issues, I think, and definitely recommendations that I would make to any business that's out there. So going back to your question, you know, for us it's not a problem, but for some other tax advisors it is a problem because, you know, you can only leave your property for essential needs. It was mentioned on whether the accounting office could give a letter to justify you know, this person has to do their tax returns. You know, but there are applications that are in place, and I would advise tax advisors to put them in so that they can email the invoices over to the advisor or whatever. But unfortunately, as we speak, there's no extension on tax returns. So come the 15th of April, as always, we are going to be having to present tax returns online, as always, on the 15th, and the tax will be charged to the account on the 20th, unless we have clients that wish to fraction their tax payments. There's a special regime that's been put in place now whereby they can fraction their tax payments for 6 months. They won't be charged interest on the first 3 months. They'll only be charged interest on the second 3 months of that 6-month period. Now, there has been an exception with regards to EVA, which is value-added tax in the mainland, and EHEEC for those that are in the Basque country for EVA, and also in the EHEEC, which is the Canaries. They've actually given us until the 1st of June to submit VAT and EHEEC returns. But I repeat, that is only the Basque country, and it is the Canaries.
Well, that's good. So yeah, bad news then. If you had to present your tax returns in April, you've still got to do that.
You're still going to do that. I would just like to give a little bit of advice there. I know it's not been asked, but you know, although they've given you this 6-month period, my advice would be, you know, if you can do it within the 3 months, it's interest free. Again, try not to go into this with a lot of debt. You know, try and keep up with as much as you can. Again, speak to the banks. The banks do have some ICO loans there that are available. Speak to your landlords, come to some negotiations. You know, my advice would be, don't stop paying your rent. I mean, you'll be able to answer on that perhaps a little bit later with regards to where they legally stand on that, because I know there's a hardship clause that's been mentioned, but you know, that's not my area really.
Okay. So basically, that, you know, business taxes, they still have to be submitted in April as normal, and then of course the personal, you know, the Spanish tax resident season starts now as well. So that starts in April and finishes at the end of June. And I presume that also has to be presented. As we
speak, it's all there waiting to be presented, because as far as the tax authorities are concerned, they're in their mind, you know, these taxes are due on income and earnings that you had before the COVID crisis. So, you know, part in their mind is, well, where are your provisions? But of course, some people have had to use those provisions to literally survive the closure of their business over the last few weeks and whatever's to come. So people are obviously concerned about, oh, I'm gonna have to pay this tax over to the government. But as we speak, yeah, everything's running as normal. Quarterly tax returns and your annual income tax return is still on course, and you know, we're there preparing them.
So coming back to the ERTEs, if you know, when the state of alarm comes to an end, will companies then be responsible for paying staff their salary as soon as the state of alarm arrives? Or will they be paid by the unemployment, you know, by Social Security unemployment benefit?
Okay, it depends on how you've applied for the ERTE. So let's take into consideration those companies that have applied for the ERTE because it was due to the force majeure. What does that mean? That means that you were included in one of those activities that were suspended by the royal decree, by the emergency state of alarm. That's when, so you were included in there as an activity that was suspended there and then on the 14th of, well, the last day you would have been working with the 14th of March. After that, I think I mentioned before, we had the order for hotels. Okay, so these are activities that have been forced to suspend their activity during this time period, and those activities are related to the state of emergency. Therefore, as soon as the state of emergency cancelled, then they will have the obligation to take those staff back and maintain those staff for a period of 6 months. Okay, there's been a little bit of confusion there, and we've been having to wait for interpretations on this, because people say, well, you know, what about if my staff contract was up? Do I have to renew that then? What they published a clarification on what they mean by what staff you have to maintain for 6 months. So they're staff that you've already got on a contract, on a permanent contract. Any staff that leave of their own accord, or you have a contract that's due up for renewal because they're only on a temporary contract and you don't renew that contract, that's fine, okay? Because they weren't permanent members of staff. So you're able to keep those. If you're in a situation whereby you do have to reopen, well, because you're linked to the emergency, the state of emergency, then you're going to have to perhaps reapply. If you think that there's a possibility that you've got a reduction of earnings and you can't keep those staff, then you could apply for another ERTE.
Yeah.
Based on a reduction of income. Those people that have applied for an ERTE based on a reduction of earnings or reduction of production as such, they can continue because theirs is linked to their loss of earnings, not to the state of emergency. So those would continue until they were in a position to prove that their earnings had started to increase.
Okay, so basically we've got two types of ERTEs. We've got the ERTE for the state of alarm. So as soon as the state of alarm comes to an end, that ERTE is cancelled or comes to an end as well, and all those staff that are affected under that ERTE come back to employment. And then, of course, what you said, we've got an ERTE for loss of income by the business, and that would allow that. So if a company had applied for that type of ERTE, that means that basically employees at the moment will receive the basic, with the limits that you mentioned earlier on Social Security. And then what we've seen, some of our clients are kind of arranging and doing is that they've applied for that ERTE because they know that their business will not recover as soon as the state of alarm is terminated. So they expect that their business will take 3, 4, 5, 6 months to recover after the state of alarm. So that's the kind of ERTE that they've applied for. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see and also companies have applied for the ERTE because of the state of alarm could also now apply for an ERTE because of the loss of income. So just because the state of alarm comes to an end doesn't mean necessarily that an ERTE will come to an end. Business will be fighting for survival after this. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, correct.
So listen, we've had another question in. Isabel, did you want to ask that?
In the businesses, we are talking about the loss of income for those entrepreneurs and business people. But then obviously these people would also have some duties and obligations. So for example, those who are renting their shops or their premises, they will supposedly they should be keeping the payments to their landlords. So one question we had was about this, whether the landlord can still claim for the rental payment, or even if the person has not opened the shop, or if there is a possibility to postpone that payment, or...
Yes, I was going to answer you. So thank you very much, Isabel. Well, unfortunately, there is no regulation in the Royal Decree for this kind of situations, So what we are recommending, what we are recommending is to try to negotiate with the landlord. So if you are the tenant and you have a shop, a business, of course, you have to still pay in the rent. The thing is that this situation is affecting all businesses. So what we are trying to do is to speak with the landlord to say this situation, we don't know when it's going to go to an end. There are some helps for workers or for families who have a very, very low incomes, but for a business, unfortunately, for this private relationship, like is a tenancy or a rental agreement for a business, no, there is no provision. There has no regulation in the royal decree. So the only thing that we can do is to try to negotiate a discount of the rent for this month, for the half of March that has lapsed. But this month, April, is the one that is currently has to be paid. So try to negotiate a reduction of the rent, or I'm sure that landlords and owners will understand this situation, and of course, it's a way to balance the risk, you know. So the only thing is to negotiate.
Yeah, I have a question, although I think Natasha has already explained it, but my question was if there is any interest-free ways to pay the tax for this quarter, for the first quarter.
The interest.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they've introduced the regime of 6 months.
Yeah.
But they will only charge interest on the second 3 months period of that 6 months. So the first 3 months would be interest free.
Yeah. All right, great.
There's a lot of interest, I think, also in how in the urbanizations and complexes, how things should be working, whether maintenance teams should be doing the work, or whether that can all be stopped or not. So we had a client asking whether at the community of owners, the maintenance company should continue providing services, or whether this situation would allow them to stop. What would happen in that case? Yeah.
Well, in this case, yes, the maintenance company has to provide all the services. Of course, they have to take the precautions to use protection and everything, and of course, they have to focus the task in disinfection and in order to clean all the communal areas. And yes, they have to provide all the services for the communities of owners.
What we've seen as well, Rosario, just to add to that, is that some communities, I've been speaking to this week, they are seeing less people on the urbanizations because people aren't, for example, going to come down to the sunny Costa del Sol for the Easter break. So there's less maintenance work to be carried out. And what we're seeing with those communities that we're talking to is that they are negotiating with their staff, saying, look, we don't need 100% of the services at the moment. So let's just agree that we say, for example, need 50%, and 50% of you take it in turns to come in and work, and the others take time off. Because the government has ordered that they actually stay at home because they're not they've ordered non-essential workers to stay at home. Carrying out maintenance, as you said, still carries on, but not as much maintenance is necessary. So what we're discussing with the communities is that we advise them to negotiate with those employees who stay at home and to recover the hours spent at home and the work, the time when they're not working throughout the rest of the year. So, what we're seeing is people are giving up their holidays. They're staying at home, they're giving up their holidays, they're taking holidays now, but also at some stage when these communities come back and have more work, that's when those staff will come back. But in exchange for that, they'll either work extra hours or in exchange give some of their holidays.
Can I just add something to that, if you don't mind? Because I think a lot of the time what we need to remind ourselves of is that people are being asked to stay at home. So all of these measures that are being taken into place, if you're leaving your home to do a job, it has to be indispensable what you're about to do. So with regards to the maintenance of pools and things, it's not the general maintenance that they would normally be doing. It would be primarily for what is considered absolutely essential for that complex. it's not a normal running situation that we're in here. You know, and I think people really need to remind themselves of that, because we're getting a lot of questions. Or can I do this? Can I do that? And it's like, well, you know, if it's absolutely necessary, yes. Otherwise, the idea is that you stay at home, or you have measures put in place. For example, like an office like ours, you work remotely, and you don't leave the house.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. Yeah.
I have a question as well to Natasha, where I can find all the information, or the people can find all the information about the changes as they are announced.
Right, well, I think, well, you can find the changes by looking on the Boletín Oficial Hispano, but you're not going to understand any of it. I think that the idea that Alex from My Lawyer in Spain has come up with regards to these webinars is absolutely fantastic, because he's there trying to get other professionals involved, where we're able to take part, and really happy to get the message out there, you know, the answers to what people are looking for. I know that on our website, ebfconsulting.com, and I know that on Alex as well, he's working really hard to put together information out there so people can get that. So from that instance, I would say, you know, you can look at private companies that are, you know, putting the information out there for their clients. The only situation, I think, that a lot of the foreign people that are working and living in Spain that perhaps might not understand so much of that. One, not all tax advisors and legal companies are doing the effort that everybody here is making the effort to provide people with answers, just to begin with. And then a lot of them are only dealing with primarily and only as Spanish companies. So, you know, I think that's where the group of people are here today got the advantage of being used to dealing with you know, foreign people that are living in Spain, and knowing that they need what information they need to have in their language, or in the English language. So that would be my recommendation. Unless they've got a Spanish knowledge, and they've got enough Spanish knowledge to, as I say, look on the BOE, which is the state bulletin. It's very technical language, though, when you're coming to read the Royal Decree, and even though you speak Spanish, it doesn't mean you're going to understand the contents of it. But you may find that your local town hall website might have some information on there for you as well, which will be some websites for the ayuntamientos. You can change the language, and it can come in English, so or French or German. So you could look at their websites as well, and that's what I would advise.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm a massage therapist, and I'm trying to find some work online, and it looks like that's happening. So I would maybe be earning while I've applied for the extraordinary allowance. How does that work? If, I mean, it won't be much, but sorry?
Masseur, did you say? Somebody that massages, did you say?
Yeah, I'm a massage therapist, but now I try to sell online one-to-one tutoring, and that slowly starts to become, I had a student yesterday, so I've applied for the extraordinary allowance on the 18th of March. So what happens if I start earning money?
Right, okay, well, they've applied for the, I mean, it depends how they've applied for the allowance. If they've applied for the allowance based on their loss of income, which is being less than 75%, for there's two things to take into consideration here, actually. If this person's been registered as a masseur, then that was one of the activities that couldn't continue, because you weren't able to go into people's homes and carry out that activity. Or if you had a centre where people came to you for their massage, then you weren't able to continue doing that. So I'm not sure whether this person is now carrying out a different activity that they're not registered for, and therefore it's not linked to their original activity. It's a bit complicated to be able to give a definite answer on that, but I'll try and be general, okay? If this person is registered to do what they're doing, which is this online tutoring now, and they've applied for their unemployment based on the fact that they're carrying out an activity that's been suspended, then they're now changing their circumstances and it doesn't comply with what their application was, and they need to be a little bit careful there. If they've applied because they have their online business already registered, then in that instance, what they would be doing is applying for the unemployment benefit based on the fact that their income is reduced by 75%.
Okay. Yeah.
As long as their income has continued to be less than, do you see where I'm coming from, yeah?
Okay, excellent. That answers the question. Thank you.
I have one question as well. I have here the new regulation related to the COVID-19 crisis allows to redeem a pension plan in advance without a penalty. To know if this is true.
It is true. That came out as one of the measures in the Royal Decree 11. And yeah, so that's also on the summary that I've provided of the contents of that Royal Decree. And the advice that we've given clients there is to contact their pension providers to see what's there. They do need to be a little bit patient though, because these royal decrees have been published, okay, as measures. We then have to give the corresponding parties time, and if it's also other organisations time, to adapt what their internal policies are going to be able to meet what has been provided in the royal decree. So yeah, they would contact their pension provider. That is true. Yeah, you've got access to your pensions.
Yeah, I can mention. In reality, the royal decree, as Natasha was saying, allows this exceptional situation, because you may be aware that pension plans would normally be redeemed only if there is incapacity, death, or retirement. But it's true that the royal decree would allow this only in certain circumstances for those who are unemployed as a consequence of an ERTE originated as a result of this situation, or the businessman or entrepreneur who is the owner of the business and has lost the business because of this, or the self-employed who were previously within the social security and the activity has stopped. So in these situations, these people can request the redemption. There would be initially 6 months to do that, although the possibility to extend this period is there. The royal decree specifically states it, and obviously those who request this would have to evidence that the amount which has been redeemed in advance, and these amounts cannot be higher than the salaries or the income that they would be obtaining during this time. The companies would have to redeem that within 7 working days, and this is very important because obviously they cannot delay the redemption, as it's supposedly to be an urgent situation, so they are under the obligation to do that according to the royal decree. And it's important to note that even if they are not going to apply a penalty for this, any taxes that may be applicable would still be applicable. So the question here is that they do not penalize, but obviously if there is any tax duty or obligation as a result of the redemption, that will have to be settled in due course.
Okay, thank you, Isabel. My next question that I received probably has happened to many of us, and I have seen or there are children playing in the communal areas of the urbanization. So what we have to do? Do I have to call the police, or do I have to call the president or the administrator of the community?
Well, it's not allowed during this state of alarm to use the communal areas of the community of owners. So no children, no old people, nobody can be around or can use these communal areas. if someone or a family or children are playing or are using the communal areas, first, it would be advisable first to call the president of the community. The president will call the administrator, and the administrator will give an advice to the owners that are breaking the rules of the government, and in the case that it is a serious situation because they or people they are reluctant to leave these communal situations, the recommendation would be to call the police. Yes, but first I would recommend first to call the president or the administrator, and afterwards, and it's if not possible to sort out this situation, the duty also is to call the police.
Okay, thank you, Rosario. We've had another question in. Natasha, in scenario planning, what is your guidance in how long the lockdown will last? We only need a kind of personal opinion for that.
Oh, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? How long is it going to last? I think personally, and you know, because there's no indication. However, there are some small indications in some of the royal decree that there are some allowances up until the 30th of April, which may suggest that they're already, and Pedro Sanchez has already said that there's a likelihood that this could be extended further. I think personally it should be extended to the end of April, because if people, and I think it will be, generally due to the fact that, you know, if people are still contagion, if people are still catching the virus now and it's got a 15-day incubation, then we need it to continue. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be more contagious. So I would say definitely until the end of April, perhaps mid-May.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you. Yeah, I mean, the word coming out from the Canaries was the Canaries would be closed until the 30th of June. That was kind of unofficial. We're hearing in the news today that the lockdown could be extended in the next few days until the 26th of April. And the issue we've got is that, of course, you know, what about other countries? You know, other countries aren't going to come out of this at the same time as Spain or Italy. You know, hopefully Italy and Spain will come out sooner, because they seem to be suffering more at the moment, or other countries are playing catch up. So I'd say I think we're looking at possibly coming out of lockdown mid-May, and then I think there'll be restrictions. The borders will be closed. I mean, for example, you know, down this side of the coast during the summer months, we see a lot of people traveling over to Africa to visit their relatives. You know, and I can't see that. I think the borders are going to be closed. Ferries won't be allowed to dock and depart. So I'd say we're looking at mid-May, but then I wouldn't be surprised if we've got restrictions there afterwards on people coming in and from what countries. Okay, and then just another one for you, Natasha. We've had: do you have to be paying the Social Security to receive the extraordinary grant? I know of someone who was placed on baja on the 15th of March. So do you have to be paying Social Security to receive the extraordinary grant?
Okay, placed on baja is a little bit confusing, because placed on baja could be a baja médica, and they haven't said that. So placed on baja, I would presume they're saying is they were dismissed or their contract wasn't renewed, or is it a self-employed person? Let's talk generally, because it's not quite clear from the question. Placed on baja, I'm going to presume placed on baja, they're saying that, do you have to pay it? Right, okay. I'm going to presume it's a self-employed person that cancelled on the 15th of March. Anybody that's not actually registered as self-employed is not able to apply for the prestación extraordinaria, which is the extraordinary grant. Okay, so in theory, if they've cancelled themselves, no, because also you need to take into consideration, if you're a self-employed person and you're applying for this extraordinary grant, you're not cancelling yourself in the tax authorities as trading. This is really important because one of the documents that was presented, and this was a little bit of a dispute actually between professional companies as well, on what did they mean when one of the documents that you have to present to the organisation to claim the extraordinary grant is what they refer to as the baja. Okay, so this baja that people were thinking, oh, I've got to cancel myself as trading, which would be the 0374, and that's not correct. What they're requesting is when you apply for this, you apply for it to the mutua, and you're only linked to a mutua while you are paying in to the system and you're paying your social security. Once you stop paying your social security as a self-employed person, then you're no longer linked to a mutua. So it wouldn't make sense or be logical that if you're cancelled, you can apply for that extraordinary grant. Can I just, there's somebody that just clarified here, I think, on what we were just touching on. This person is self-employed and owns a cafeteria. But if this person is self-employed, then I presume that they're still paying into the system. Do you have to be still paying social security? Yes, you do. And I need to mention that you are not entitled to any of the benefits unless you are up to date with your tax returns and you're up to date with your social security payments. So if this person is self-employed and owns a bar or a cafeteria in this instance, it's one of the activities that was forced to close. So they would automatically present their paper, or their accountant would present their paperwork to the mutua and apply for this grant. But he has to continue paying his social security.
Okay.
Hi, Natasha. Just a quick question for you. I have a friend who has a small business and he has 5 or 6 employees, and he's applied for an ERTE, but he's been refused the ERTE. What could the reason be for that? I mean, what are the criteria basically for applying for an ERTE? And apologies if you've already been through this.
Yeah.
But if you could just explain that.
Well, I would imagine that the activity isn't an activity that's been forced to close then.
No.
Okay, so it's an activity. When you apply for the ERTE for an activity that you consider your income has been reduced by 75%, okay, that would be the other. There's 2 ways, we discussed it earlier. There's one which is where you've got an activity that's been forced to close to the public, and then you've got the other one whereby you have to prove that you've got a reduction in production or a reduction of income, which would be more than 75% of your income over the last, well, I say income is facturación, which is invoicing, not income, invoicing, over the last 6 months. So you would compare it to the last 6 months of your working period. If he's done it for that reason, he's done it very, very quickly, it's probably been refused because there's a memorandum that has to be produced there, and it's really, really important that that is prepared very, very carefully by the person that is preparing that for you, because you've got to present allegations there that prove that because of the COVID, your income has reduced by 75%. Now, that's difficult to prove when we're only 2 weeks,
It's only really
3 weeks into it.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
the ones that I would recommend there would be if you could prove that your clientele, say if I was a business that wasn't, if I was a printing business, yeah, well, I can continue working. I can continue offering that service, although I think from the last Royal Decree, my staff may not be able to continue working in that department. I'm not sure now. But if it was that case, then I would have personally looked at who their clientele is, and if I could prove that 100% of their clientele were forced to close on the 14th of March, then that would be a massive benefit to me, and I would have to incorporate that in the memorandum. So what I would do there is I would provide a list of clients and the sectors that they're involved in, and probably attach all of the invoices that are related to prove that my clientele is a clientele that's been linked to the force majeure. Without knowing any more detail about that person, it's difficult to know, but they're the things that they would need to be looking at. There's nothing stopping them from reapplying though, Ali.
Okay.
But they'd have to really evaluate their situation and see where they're going to, you know, what allegations they're going to put forward. And we're not talking about a 2-page memorandum here. For anything like that, well, you've got to produce documentation to prove that your production has reduced, you really need to make sure you've got somebody that's preparing it properly for you. I'm not
Yeah, and as you say, 2 weeks isn't really enough either.
You know, I'm not suggesting that that person hasn't done it properly, but, you know, without actually having more details, it'd be difficult. But they're the things that I would be looking at.
Yeah, and just add to that, I mean, the ERTEs at the moment, if they're submitted and there's no response, then they're automatically considered as accepted. But the government will reserve the right to review those at a later date. And if a company is found to have submitted an ERTE, you know, with false intentions, then they could be ordered to repay any monies back, plus interest, plus a penalty. Okay, so well, so listen, we've come to an end of the Zoom seminar. I think, you know, it's flown by today. You know, it's zoomed by, to coin that phrase. So Natasha, you know, thank you ever so much indeed for joining us. You know, good luck with everything you're doing. Good luck with all the clients. Thank you to everyone who has attended the call. We will be holding, we're going to actually have a break next week because it's Easter Friday. So we'll be burying Easter eggs in the garden for our kids and they're trying to find them. Right. So we'll have a break next week on the 10th, but we will be back on the 17th of April at 3 p.m. and we'll have a couple more professionals then. The idea then would be to talk about currency and some mortgages. So thank you ever so much to everyone for sending those questions in. Thank you very much.